GBHS Math Shorts are 5 to 10-minute videos designed to provide instruction or review of specific concepts utilized in math courses here at Granite Bay High School. We hope you find them useful and helpful. This GBHS Math Short is the first step to factoring, looking for what's in common, or the greatest common factor, the GCF. This step is critical for all the other steps. It has to be done before you attempt any of these other steps in order to be factoring correctly. It's often forgotten when you see a difference of the squares or a factorable trinomial. Oftentimes we overlook step one. We need to keep this always as the very first thing we do when we're factoring. Here are 7 different steps of factoring. We're going to be looking at step number 1 today, factoring out a greatest common factor, or what's in common. Again, this step needs to be done before you attempt to do any of the other factoring steps. In this example, we have a polynomial with 4 terms. It appears like we're going to have a common factor that has an x in it until you look at the last term. The 40 does not have an x. So what we'll be looking at are just the numeric portions of each term. The 15, the 25, the 75, and the 40. And what you want to do is determine what is the greatest common factor of those 4 numeric terms, and then if there were variables in common, you would look at what variables are in common and what the highest power in common would be. In this case, it's just a numeric common factor. That numeric common factor is going to be 5. Now, variety of ways to handle what is left when you take out the 5, when you divide out the 5. If you take each of these terms, if you take each term and divide by 5, 15x cubed divided by 5 is going to give you 3x cubed. 25x squared divided by 5 will give you a plus 5x squared. And minus 75x divided by 5 is going to give you a minus 15x. And 40 divided by 5 is going to give you plus 8. 5 times the quantity 3x cubed plus 5x squared minus 15x plus 8 is what you would get when you factor out what is in common. In this second example, we'll look at it a different way. Again, we want to determine what's in common first between the 13x cubed and the 26x squared. If we look at the numeric portion, both numeric portions, the 13 and the 26, are divisible by 13. So that will be part of our greatest common factor. But in this problem, we have an x in both terms. Now you want to take, when you're looking at the common variables, you want to take the variable raised to the lowest power. So the common factor is going to be 13x. Now this time we'll look at it a little bit differently. What do we multiply the 13x by to get the original 13x cubed? 13x times x squared is going to give you that original 13x cubed. And then we do the same thing. What do we multiply the 13x by to get the original second term, 26x? That's going to give you a plus 2. So when you factor out what's in common, the 13x, it comes to the front, and then left, you have x squared plus 2. Remember, factoring is changing a plus-minus problem into a multiplication problem. Don't forget, you always need to check to see if there's a greatest common factor before you go on to any of the other factoring steps. Don't overlook GCFs.